sir. We back again, man. Bigger vision. You already know what it is. We here at Smitty 6 Strong. Want to appreciate them for letting us hold the fort down today. But this is season 2, Bigger Vision, aka level 2. We leveling up. And today we got a very, very special guest for y'all. NFL safety and cornerback. Played in the league for 9 years. Drafted by the New England Patriots. Played with the Carolina Panthers. Played with the Indianapolis Colts. Drafted in 2009. You know, we're going to get into it, talk about a lot. None other than Darius J. Butler. Appreciate you for coming on the show.
Appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm going to just go ahead and dive right in, man. First of all, I ain't know black people could be born in Germany. Frankfurt, Germany, so that's where you was born?
Yeah.
Obviously not raised, but I read that you was there for 3 years.
Yeah.
Where did you like transition to after Germany?
Well, yeah, born on the army base. So Army brat, popped in the military, went there fresh out of high school. So then going from there, one military base in Frankfurt, then got rebased in San Diego, which is another big military town. Don't remember a bunch of that either. Remember a little bit, but came to South Florida about 5, 6 years old. So it was 4 of us at that point down here in South Florida. So once again, don't remember all of that, but I know once we got down here, still moved around a lot. Started off in Miami, went to Miramar, Sunrise, Lauderdale Lakes, Lauderdale, went, 5, 6 different elementary schools. So
yeah, somewhere everywhere.
Yeah, a lot of moving around, but having a big family at home, obviously having both parents at home as well.
Yeah,
it's always good to still always have that unit.
Yeah, of course, yeah. That's a good thing, having both parents in the household. When did you start getting into sports?
As long as I can remember, man. I got a big brother, fortunately, about 6 years older than me, and he everything was sports.
Yeah.
Everything, like my first favorite basketball player was James Worthy. So you can imagine.
Oh, that's throwback, though, bro.
Jordan, with him, Bulls.
Respect that.
So I got exactly. So I wanted the rivalry. So my first favorite team was the Lakers. So I've been into sports like that. Obviously, the era we grew up in, that was Dion, that was
Dion, Jordan,
Johnson, all these, Barry Sanders, all these greats that we got to see, not only off the field, but big personalities off the field as well. So not only on the field, but big personalities off the field as well. So
right.
I was always, as long as I can remember, in the sports.
Okay. Another thing is you went to school down here at Coral Springs Charter High School. Played quarterback, safety.
Yep.
Pretty much an athlete, played everything. Back in the day, like you said, that's kind of what we did back then.
Absolutely.
Played everything. What made you say when you got to college or whatever, you wanted to stick to safety and cornerback, not just play quarterback?
Man, really, my coach just put me there. I went there as an athlete, so it was either going to be a wide receiver or DB. This was before that, Mark Jackson type.
Yeah.
We had Darren Orlowski, was actually my quarterback when we committed there, who obviously pocket passer, was just going D1, just went into the Big East, and we was kind of like first or second, like real Division I recruiting class, and so that's where they put me. And looking at the quarterback position after Dan was leaving, I wasn't really too confident, and then as a wide receiver, you always got to be dependent on the quarterback. I wanted to play wide receiver in high school. Couldn't do it, in high school. Okay, what's the best position where you gonna touch the ball?
Exactly,
So and then on corner, you got to lock up, play man, play zone, tackle. You don't have to necessarily depend on a lot of people around you to do your job. Obviously, as you move up levels, you got to depend on pass.
Right.
Coach put you in good position, but as just a young athlete, I wanted to play the position where I could bet on myself, I could grind, I could do these things, take care of what I can take care of, and go, as far as I can go. So that's what that choice was, to play on that defensive side of the ball.
Okay. Before we move to your NFL career, like what you got going on right now, I still want to talk a little bit more about your upbringing.
Yeah.
Like, what was it like growing up with all those brothers and sisters? You had a lot of, and a military dad at that. Like, what was it like growing up?
It was great, man. Honestly, it was one of, as a kid, especially regardless of where you grew up from, like as a kid, you want to fit in.
Right.
You want to fit in. I told you, moving around a lot, different places. It was so important for us to always have. It was like I was never really looking for validity outside the home. I had 2 supportive parents. I had a big brother who always looked out, made sure he kept me out of trouble. Uncles, cousins, the same thing. And I was kind of that second brother. There was a big gap between me and Big Bro.
Yeah.
So once he left, you know, probably about 17, now I was the big brother.
Right.
You know what I mean? We had a lot of cousins, you know, kind of in and out the house that was looking with us as well. So we was almost like a gang within ourselves.
Yeah.
Kind of back to back. You know, it's 2 years, it's a year. That 6-year gap is the biggest gap.
Yeah.
So, you know, we kind of moved like the mob. You know, you see one of us, you see.
Y'all deep.
Yeah.
That was always good. So we never really, you know, looked and tried to do certain things that to feel cool or try to do, oh, this is what everybody's doing, so let's do that now. So whatever we was doing, that's what we was doing. And sports was always our thing. Wherever we lived, whatever apartment complex, whatever park we went to, whatever gym, like we was trying to compete, we was trying to win. Once again, playing with Big Brother, I always wanted to play with him.
Play with him, yeah.
Playing with 16, 17 year olds, I'm 10, 11.
Play with them too. Yeah.
And as a big brother, I got him. He picked me up.
Pick you up, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, out there, a full jet just out here playing with grown men. And then once I got the kids my age, it was like, you know, the expectation.
Too easy, damn.
You know what I mean? Then once little brother right there, he trying to dominate, and it's kind of like a trickle down effect. So, sports was kind of always, you know, the centerpiece. And then, you know, my parents, you know, a lot of parents, I feel like, you know, kind of push their kids a little too hard. You know, you should be hard on your kids. You should.
Well, you got a military dad, so shit.
The only thing he cared about was being on time,
Right.
you know, and being like a good teammate, being accountable. You know what I mean? So, hey, you show up on time, you do what the coach say.
Yeah.
Like, don't be looking for me, don't be looking for your mama. To
Right,
say,
right.
Oh,
That's straight discipline.
doing that? Nah, the coach, he spending the time with you. He putting that work in, so he obviously gonna tell you the right things or the wrong things to do, and obviously you're gonna deal with, you know, different things, maybe politics, maybe favoritism. That's starting a little league, you know.
Right.
Oh, that's been a quarterback for the last 4 years. That's the coach's son, you know, whatever it may be. But his thing was just like, as long as you put that work in, like it's gonna be undeniable. You know, it's
gonna shine.
regardless of what situation you're in. So obviously that always went a long way. My mom, she was a little different. She was gonna be a little more outspoken. She might tell the coach, hey, he's sorry. Yeah. My son needed to go in here, throw the ball up the ball. So
Oh, yeah.
Because it was different for her, obviously, than it was for Pop. But, you know, having them two different voices and two different dynamics,
Yeah.
I think it definitely played off. But, you know, sports has been the kind of center of my life and kind of center of my, you know, pretty much most of my siblings' life for really as long as I can remember.
So you was never worried about being the new kid on the block or the new kid in school because you had the big family. And,
In sports, if you're good in sports, that's the easiest way to get popular.
Right.
That's the easiest way to be. And it wasn't like, you know, wasn't necessarily looking to be popular, but once again, you know, as a kid,
That's what comes with it.
friends, you want to click.
Yeah.
Right.
And so when you go into, especially, you know, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, you know, I went to Lauderdale Lakes first, then went to West Pine, and kind of got in trouble. And those are two very different dynamics.
Way different.
And I'm class 2004 high school.
Okay.
Yeah, not no more, probably not, but I go 6th grade at Lauderdale Lakes, and then I go 7th grade at West Pine. So it's like, that's the first time I seen people dressed up like, clothes.
Yeah. Rock and roll. Yeah.
We had white people, we had Spanish people, we had black people, a lot of late. It was us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was different. And then kind of got some trouble in middle school and then ended up at Coral Springs Charter. So I went like a 2-year gap where I went in school at all from like 8th grade to like that almost 3/4 through 9th grade, but wasn't in school at all. So that was before social media, cell phone. People ain't know what happened to me. So get back in charter school, and that was kind of like an unknown thing.
Yeah.
You know what charter school was. Private school, did y'all with uniforms, that. So, but once again, sports got me back focused, got me locked in, and obviously, you know, got me to college for free.
Yeah. Well, was UConn the only one offering you at the time?
I had UConn. The first real offers I had UConn, FAU, and Indiana.
Okay.
So those were the places I took efficient visits to. Those were the places that was like being serious from the jump. And then kind of later on, y'all know how the recruit process works. It's much different now than it was then.
Way different. Yeah.
But back then, you know, certain people recruit or deep or commit,
Yeah.
decommit other places, then that's kind of like the final hour, the 12th hour. That's when other schools come in and be like, Clemson reached out late, Florida reached out late. I had some big schools reach out late because I played the Broward Day game, had a good Broward Day game.
And you had already committed to UConn.
I had already committed to UConn because the coach that recruited me there, a guy named Terry Richardson, he was a running back in the day from Northeast.
Gotcha.
And my head coach in high school, Otis Mounds, Calvin Jackson, one of my coaches, got arrested, so Auburn, all great, all these boys went to Dillon. It was D5. That was kind of my coaching crew in high school. So they had all these different connections. Terry Richardson played running back for Northeast back in the day. He was the recruiting coordinator for South Florida up at UConn. So he was early. He was there often.
So that's slowly.
Trying not to have me play
right.
position.
Yeah.
So that was that connection. Now once I had that connection, committed to UConn, Randy Edsel, met some other guys up there, Justin Perkins, he's another South Florida guy. That once that commitment was made, it was kind of done deal.
So that's pretty much, you felt at home, kind of.
Oh yeah, because Big East, all the Big East schools at that time was recruiting South Florida. Rutgers, Pittsburgh, obviously South Florida. Yeah, right. Like all these schools, they had 20, 25 all these schools. I think Louisville still recruiting South Florida.
They still do. Yeah.
Had that pipeline to South Florida. Yep. And once again, it's kind of my dad. Like, hey, he don't really understand how the whole process work. He like, hey man, like you gave me your word, like you told him.
Right.
It's cool, but ended up obviously working out. But it was great. Going up the store, I didn't know what Connecticut was on the map. So going up to Storrs, Connecticut, I think it was a good thing getting away from home. And they just once again being able to just lock in and have that goal and just go for it.
So before we go back, go into the whole football, I want to go back to, you just said something that was interesting. Your dad said you already committed. You already gave me your word. And going back to what you said prior to that, the qualities that he instilled in you, be on time, discipline, and listen. And obviously, it definitely got to give your pops and your moms. They just do because I don't. Again, we just found out about the extended family. Ain't no bunch of other brothers, but the ones that I personally met, and you like from the father, your father, we all fathers, and we already know how hard it is to hit on one. But for them to hit on, I seen all your brothers successful, obviously including you and your sister, and it's like, for them to hit that many times, that's crazy.
Amazing.
That ain't no myth.
That's insane. It's insane.
They solid. They solid at the high school sweetheart. They got married at 18, and shoot, 1980 they got married, so they celebrate, I think, 44 years this year in August.
That's dope.
That's dope.
Just as solid as they come. I've been big in the church for since I've been growing up, since I've been here, big in the community. So even with all the kids, they still showing up. People, visiting them in the hospital or going to the funerals. Always been in position to help do this. And that was something they instilled too. If you're in a position to help, you should help regardless of what you got going on. I'll tell you about a big family. They got a bunch of brothers and sisters too, so obviously at certain different times, we had certain cousins, things like that. So they would kind of be like extra parents as well to them. But it takes a village, for sure. Even they've been educators too. That was part of the reason why I got pulled out of school. Me and my brother get in trouble. Once again, it was just a completely different dynamic going from Lakes to West Pine. I got the 8th grade, my younger brother was in 6th. We were both kind of getting in trouble. My mom was like, look, y'all ain't about to be embarrassed.
Right.
Know who I am, they know who my dad is. I went to Village Elementary. That was one of the schools that I went to, and my dad worked there. So, a lot of the kids knew him from there, from the church, whatever. Faced him, kind of grew up in that church. So, it was always like that dynamic, not only with us in the house, but with, who my parents were. So they made us know early, hey, y'all ain't finna embarrass us out here. So y'all sit home, y'all had to sit down, because they had their accreditation or whatever from Broward County so that they could homeschool us. But truth be told, we We was at the dono, just waiting. We was begging for some homework by the time high school came.
Yeah. Hey, so I'm gonna go back to a date when you was in college, October 1st, 2005. You remember that day?
2005, my red shirt freshman year. Kind of early in the season.
Well, I'm gonna give you a little.
Army?
Y'all play Army.
Okay,
Y'all play Army. Y'all play Army. Y'all 3-1 at the time in Mitchell Stadium. Yeah. You stood out with 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
When you got that first one, how did it make you feel? Like, what was going through your mind? What was going through your head? Like, cause you had a big game that day.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest game I had in
Yeah.
college on defense. Mitchell Stadium. So it was a historic stadium. Obviously, West Point, Army.
Mm-hmm.
Pops went to the Army, obviously. So that was kind of, a big deal for me.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, obviously they wasn't like a powerhouse or nothing like
Yeah.
that. This is my,
It was a blowout.
Yeah, third or fourth.
It was a blowout.
Third or fourth start as a red shirt freshman, and red shirt. That's a whole nother. That was tough to deal with.
Yeah.
As an athlete going to school, but I feel like it was like sometimes as an athlete, sometimes you just feel like you got that glow.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just shows that you
Mm-hmm.
wake up, you eat breakfast, and just feel like, hey, it's just my day. And once I got that first one, just like, all right, if they throw anytime they ball come my way, it's my ball. And I think my last one.
You scored that game too. Yeah.
86.
Yeah.
Once again, that's a stadium that's been around for a long, long time. So I got a record there for the most, 3 interceptions in a game,
Mm-hmm.
most yards. Man, I think I had like 120 something return yards.
I think it said 126, 156, something like that.
Yeah, so that was a big day.
Yeah, big day. How did it make your pops feel, being that it was a Army game and?
We got that pitch. He got that pitch in his room right now.
Yeah, that's what's
I
up.
don't know which pick it was in that game. It was a cover 2. I got high-low and tried to, throw a little hitch. We called it China 7. Hitch 7, throw the hitch. I kind of baited like I was going for the hitch and tried to put the 7 guard over the top. So boom, went back, picked that off, and then the pitch, you can kind of see my head coach. You know how like you have your leg up, like you don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And so that was a big moment.
That's what's up.
Career for the family, for me. Kind of put me on the map.
Yeah.
A little bit. I made some freshman All-American teams. But yeah, that was a big game. I needed that.
Yeah.
I think some of that comes to you studying film and stuff as well too, not just have a great instinct.
Yeah.
But you've seen these things before. So
So sports, I mean, especially at the highest level.
right.
Instincts, reaction, like you just want to be reacting and playing out there. You want to be almost playing that kid's game. But all that film study, all that practice, all the walkthroughs, all that stuff is what push you in a position to be able to do that. Because you look at a lot of young guys, even sometimes older vets, but a lot of young guys especially, you see first round picks, you see 5-star recruits, you see whatever it is, and once you go up that level, it's a different demand on that. You got to manage your time different. So we all talented. We all can run fast, jump high, be quick, bench, press, squat. We can all do that. But when you out there in that huddle break, you still think.
You still, yeah.
And you did.
Dead in the water.
Like overthinking.
Breaking that huddle. He done fixed the blood.
Yeah.
You can't be thinking about it.
You got to get locked in at this time. Yeah.
What's this? And then by the time he lined up and the rest of the formation is set, I already got to know the me. Like, all right, he ain't running this route. He ain't running that route. He ain't running this. So now once I straight that me, that's the only way you can really succeed and play at that level. So I had some great coaches. Once again, starting with Mike Higgins, Otis Mounds, Calvin Jackson, all those guys that coached me in high school set me up for college. I went to college, Todd Orlando, Scott Lakatos, all those guys that coached me hard. Randy Edson, who's a DB guy. Then obviously got drafted. Bill Belichick, Chuck Pagano, Ron Rivera, like all these coaches, man, like they did a great job. Just enforcing like how important that preparation was. So you can actually go out there and play. You can actually go out there and let your athleticism take over.
And I still see it to this day. Obviously, you're super knowledgeable about the game.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you watch you on social media, you still You know, we be joking around. I text you already. Jim Jones, if you watching, hey, hey,
Hey, so you tell me Trevon Diggs is the best? Nah, it's not right.
Hey, how you be breaking down schemes? I'm like, bro, if this man here is on TV now and can break down your whole
Facts.
you on the field playing.
Facts.
You mean to tell me you can't like somebody doing something wrong?
Yeah.
You might need to be a coach, huh?
It's different.
We need a coach.
Al Harris, one of the best DB coaches, one of the best defensive minds out there.
Yeah. Florida born, Florida bred, Pompano. Yeah.
Broward County.
Yeah.
But,
Best players come out of Florida, by the way.
1,000%.
That count.
1,000%. Cam no better.
Yeah.
But yeah, Al obviously one of the best defensive minds. But you know, being on TV, being able to see not only because when you coaching, when you playing, like you obviously got to focus on what you got going on, what you're doing, the teams, maybe your division, all these different things you're going through. Being on TV, and you got to kind of see the game from a 30,000 foot.
Mm-hmm.
But then having the experience of being like, all right, I'm playing the Bucks this week, and me lock in on who they've been playing, what they've been doing the last few weeks, that's different. But now being able to do that for multiple teams, it kind of helps you like, oh, okay, this is you kind of see the trends. You kind of see where things going. And when I was playing like that was my edge. You know, I wasn't the biggest guy on the field. I had to be in the right position. You know what I mean? So I had to do my work pre-snap. So to be able to do your work pre-snap, I had to prepare throughout the week.
Gotcha.
And I played I made most of my hay in the league as a nickel, as a slot defender.
That's the hardest.
Yeah, so as a good slot defender, you got to know the run fits, you got to know the coverages. Shit, a lot of times for me, I wanted to know what the D coordinator was thinking. You know, so 3rd and 6 in 2 minutes, like I already know, all right, before the call even come in, it's going to be 1 to 3 calls. So I'm already kind of going through my mental gymnastics. So once that call maybe break the huddle, I could be, hey, nickel right, hey, number 2 on the ball. Hey, when they motion in, alert the stack. We going here. This is going to be the bunch adjustment going here. So when you making that communication, it's not only for yourself, but everybody else around you.
Thanks.
And then once you transition into the media part of it, you know, everybody know each other. You know, everybody in the media, they've been covering the players, they've been covering the coaches, everybody talk. So they know like who are the smart players, who are the communicators, who's this, who's that. And that's how I got, you know, a lot of my opportunities in the media space too, is based on, you know, how I handle myself as a player and, you know, trying to be one of the quarterbacks on that defense side of the ball.
Definitely did a good job with that.
Appreciate it.
I'm gonna slow it down and take it to about 2011. I believe you was playing for the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
You was in practice, I believe, and you got your daughter, Milan. She was having heart complications at the time. You had to leave practice and go check on her. Like, being a father, how did that make you feel at that time? Like, you know, what was going through your mind? What was going through your head?
Man, that was really one of the first times, and that was the beginning of it. So it all happened so quick. Like, it happened, I want to say before practice. Her mom.
3 years old.
Yeah, no. She was 2 months old. 2 months old. So before practice, you said that was October? Yeah, October. She was born in August. So before practice, my mom, you know, kind of telling me, because they was down here in South Florida, oh, you know, she ain't really, you know, eating. She ain't really doing this. You know, baby shit. They eat, shit, and sleep. Like that's the routine. And if they stop doing one of them, it's an issue. So once she stopped eating, you know, it was a bigger issue to her than it was to me. I was like, oh, she'll be all right. She's probably doing this. She had some heartburn, some other stuff going on. So I'm like, she'll be all right. Just give it, you know, to the morning or whatever. And then so that following morning, she, you know, still has some issues. I'm like, all right, you know, go take her to get checked up. So the last I talked to her, she was just taking it to the doctor, the pediatrician to get checked on. I get out of practice, and you know, it's like she in like this incubator, like going into the back of an ambulance. So she's like, hey, you got to take her to Joe DiMaggio. You got to get some tests. It's more serious. It's a serious issue. Right. Boom. Probably 30 minutes later, hey, they got to do open heart surgery.
Damn.
You know, so I'm like, dude, yeah, I'm like, man, what they got to do? So yeah, so
that's not
what's going on.
That's not an easy surgery.
For the first time, probably ever. I'll tell you how big sports have been. Like, you know, football was the last thing on my mind. And at the time, Brandon Beane, actually, the current GM of the Buffalo Bills. He was like, I don't know what his exact role was, but he was with the Panthers, and he was. I remember he was. I remember that part. So after practice, I'm like, I got to go to the airport like right now. Like I need somebody to get me to the airport. It's plane to take off. He took care of the ticket. Somebody had me walk me right down there, right to the plane. Flew down here. And I was down here for a couple weeks. You know, she had open heart surgery, had some complications after. You know, I had to have on like life support, ECMO machine. I don't know if y'all know what that is,
I'm
but
familiar with it.
yeah, it basically takes all the blood out your body, do some stuff in this machine, and put it back in your body. Got breathing tubes, so literally life support. You know, for a minute. And she came out of that, and then probably 3 weeks later, maybe I can't remember. Honestly, a lot of it's a blur. But at some point, I went back to playing, and she was still in the hospital. She got out of the hospital, I want to say around like Thanksgiving time. But like that whole season, that was my third year. I had been cut as a second round pick with the Patriots. So after my second year, I got cut going in that training camp. Picked up by the Panthers. I got claimed by like 5 teams, but the Panthers were the worst team the previous year, so they got my rights. So went up there, and it was cool. It was Chris Gamble, you know, talk about another South Florida legend.
Yeah.
That was my locker mate. You know, that was one of the guys I looked up to and wanted to be as a two-way superstar athlete.
Yep.
Like, even though he went to Ohio State, and they cheated us. You know what I mean? I wanted to be, Bones Gamble. Captain Munley was a guy I trained with coming out. Charles Johnson, got Cam. I had new Cam because I knew his older brother. So it was just great being in that. Ron Rivera was a rookie year. It was great getting back in there, but football was kind of like an afterthought at that point. Like a lot of that year, like I said, the blur. But yeah, that situation with Milan, kind of put everything, in perspective.
Right.
And it was still obviously some challenging. You deal with things on the football field that you're gonna deal with. We deal with things in life. But obviously that family, the kids, I was just golfing with her yesterday. So, she, at this point, she a healthy, 12-year-old living a normal life. She's going to 8th grade now. So, but yeah, that was
8th grade now?
8th grade.
Jesus Christ.
8th grade, just like that. But yeah, that was a crazy, crazy time. And like I said, the only time that sports, football was like an afterthought, and you still got to go out there and perform, but you think about what's going on at home.
Right, exactly. Got to. That's your only child?
No. I got a bunch of kids. That's my second.
How you see it, dog? I got a bunch of kids.
My second oldest though. My Milan, my doobie.
I met her. She was at the house, right?
Yeah,
I met her.
Yeah. Kind of like how we were talking, like, a lot of players, kind of don't know what to do after football end and stuff like that. They uncertain about what they want to do.
Yeah.
They got all this money, don't know how to spend it, don't know what to do with it. But I see you made that transition into TV personality, doing your podcast and stuff like that. How did you get into that mindset to do that and not just sit around after football and say, I'm gonna just do this, I'm gonna just chill?
Yeah, it's tough, man. That transition tough. Because we kind of live life backwards in a sense, from the time, you're probably 16, 17 for a lot of us. You kind of know, okay, you're a little different. You got a good shot, to go the whole way. So now you probably gonna go to the league. So a lot of doors are just open for you. A lot of things set up for you to just be easy. A lot of things you don't necessarily have to worry about or handle. And for me, that was up until I was, 32. So that's 16 to 32, let's say 16 years. And then once you retire, now things start to get different. Now you got to make appointments. You can't just walk into a building and just, hey, I want to talk to the CEO of, Nestle or whoever because I want to do this deal. Now those doors don't open up the same with that jersey now in the back. When your name is down on the back of your jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people struggle with that. A lot of us struggle because that's your whole identity for so long. That's how people see you. That's how you see yourself. So now you got to go out to the world and be something different. It's different. You got to
Almost like you got to make yourself vulnerable.
You got to be vulnerable. You got to restart. And it's going to be a tough transition for anybody, regardless of how much money you got, what you made, what you did. Like, 'cause I was fortunate enough to where I didn't have to, rush into something I didn't want to do. I did a coaching clinic, probably my last year in the league. I did a broadcast boot camp just to kind of explore and do some different things.
I remember that.
See what was potentially out there on the other side. And at that point, when I did a broadcast boot camp, I'm like, man, I can't do this media shit because everything you turn on, it's a lot of regurgitated stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
these storylines and a lot of people saying stuff that we've been in the locker room. Like, we
Yeah.
know how that.
Yeah.
Like, even like you think about like what's the most Michael Parsons, Malik Hooker. Like, okay,
I just heard
all
about
right,
that,
that just happened. But okay, if I'm on TV now, I got to talk about it a certain way. If I'm on a different show, they ask questions.
Yeah.
I got to talk about it in a way I don't want to talk about. So I didn't see myself doing the media route at all. But once again, the relationship things, Pat McAfee, we were teammates 5 years in Indy, competed against each other in the Big East. He was at West Virginia, played together, played against each other in the Senior Bowl. But we, as teammates, and you wouldn't think like kickers or punters, DBs really kick like that. But we kicked it. Like, that was my dog. We was
He
playing.
gangster too.
Yeah,
He
we was
gangster
playing.
too.
He had a sold out national stand up tour. I think his last year he was playing. So I'm going to his shows and shit. He got like podcasts, shows he doing while playing. I'm going on his stuff, but we kicked it. So like, he was one of the first media people I started working with after. And then, did some other things, went on some different shows because of the connections made at Broadcast Boot Camp. And then once the opportunity came up with NFL matchup, one of my OGs, Matt Hasselback, I'm teammates with him. Dan Orlowski, once again, who put doing this thing on ESPN as well. They knew kind of one of the execs. They were like, hey, because NFL matchup, it's been around since 1984. So it's been around for 40 years. Greg Cosell, Sal Palantonio. There's been a lot of people that have kind of come through that other seat. Lewis Riddick, Mel Hodges, Ron Jaworski, like a lot of guys who they respect. They X's and O's. And I hadn't really had that role on TV or in the media yet. But Orlowski and Hasselback were like, hey, I got a guy. Like, he gonna bring a different energy to the show. He talk about defense. Like, I've never seen somebody talk about defense or break down defense. Like, that's your guy. And I went in and did the audition, and then that was that. Going on next year will be my third season on the show. But really come back to relationships, and once again putting that work in. The work, the preparation, being accountable. It's just like football. I'm preparing for the show or for what we talking about, the matchups we talking about, just like as if I was playing against, this offense and this person. So we may all have four complete different opinions on Jalen Hurts and the offense and the threats on that offense. But I'm going to get on that show and I'm going to tell you why I feel this way, how I think this game going to go, whether it's the Giants or the Cowboys or whoever they matching up with, why it's going to go that way. And then more times than not, I'm right. It kind of play out that way. But, football is football. Football is football. The Cowboys going to choke at some point. But
don't start that shit now. Don't start that shit now.
I'm sure y'all know. It's the biggest Cowboy fan I know.
You already know.
But yeah, it's been a blessing, man. But the transition, once again, having a good good support system at home, brothers, family, sisters, every friends, having that good support system at home definitely helped make that transition much more smooth.
So I want to take a little turn, a little detour. I mean, obviously you done dealt with, like we spoke about your daughter, you dealt with some adversity in your life. So at that point, obviously you became accustomed to, dealing with adversity, whether it's that and football and the whole nine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mention two names to you, and you tell me, you tell us about the relationships and how did that affected you and going forward. One of your college teammates, Jasper and Vontae Davis. So if you could elaborate with us.
Yeah, so Jazz, that was my little brother. Once again, you on teams. I recruited him on his official visit coming up to UConn, coming out of Miami. Little young skinny kid with the whole world ahead of him, all his dreams ahead of him, just like I was at that point. We actually got to play together for a year, and I actually talked to Jazz. His last night really, because he was just coming off a homecoming win against Louisville. He made like the game-saving strip.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the game, he made a statement and said, hey, and this was one of the things that we used to say, like play every down, like play every play like it's going to be the last play you ever play.
It's crazy.
So he said, and we was talking on the phone, we was kind of bullshitting with each other about who was going to have the first interception because he hadn't had an interception that season yet. This is my rookie year. I hadn't had one yet. And so we was going back and forth. And then, you know, that I woke up that next morning. You know, you Saturday night in the hotel, you wake up. I probably woke up 400 calls, you know, from all different people, coaches, family, you know, just all these different people. And, you know, that's never good.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I talked to one of the other young guys who was up there. His name not coming to me right now. He was another South Florida guy. He like told me what happened. And like that was, I mean, I can't even explain it. Once again, I was like a little brother. And then, you know, went out there, played the game. That was the game, like kind of bunch of snow. We had throwbacks on. Patriots, Tennessee Titans had their throwbacks on. We beat them like 50-something zero. I think Brady threw like 5. I got my first interception that game and kind of, you know, dedicated to him. But every cleat I wore, you know, for the rest of my career, you know, had his number on it. But still was keeping contact with his family. His daughter is one of the biggest track stars right now. I think she up in New York right now.
Okay.
Jemiah Howard, one of the biggest track stars. So she'll be going wherever she want to go.
That's what's up.
Running track. Still talk to the family, man. But that was crazy, man. That was tough. And then obviously that was my rookie year. That happened my rookie year. His had to be his senior year.
You was a senior and he was a freshman coming in.
I was a senior. He was a true freshman. So he played as a true freshman. I played my senior year. We played together.
Right.
And then I went on to the league, and he was sophomore. He was having a good year. I think he was gonna be, you know, into the league. 'Cause he was a punt returner. He was a big time playmaker. But yeah, that, you know, tragedy. You know, obviously tragedy. That was, you know, tattoos. One of the biggest tattoos I got on me. But that was my dog. And then Vontae just recently happened. That was
that was
the end of March, beginning of April. You know, it was 30, 35 years old, like something like that to happen, that tragic, that sudden. Then, you know, he got the older brother, obviously Vernon, who I know, family who I know. Like, it's just, you know, you never know when things will happen. You never know when your last day gonna be. You never know, however you live your life, you know, make sure you living it right, make sure you living that legacy, leaving that legacy behind. And obviously at some point, you know, all of us, you know, got to deal with some messed up stuff. That's just the inevitable part of life, and it's tough. But at the same time, you hold on to those memories. You know, every time I saw Tay, every time I talked to him, regardless of what was going on, good, bad, or ugly, he was upbeat. He put a smile on his face. I called Tay probably 30 minutes after he retired, mid-game. I'm getting the Tay walked off mid-game. I'm like, mid-game, what you mean? Man, Tay retired halftime. I'm like, nah, you bullshit. He called Tay. Called before AB. Man, yeah, called. Hey, what's up, bro? Yeah, what's up, dog? Hey, what happened?
That's exactly how he was.
You straight? Yeah, man, I'm straight, man. What happened? Why you? Hey, D-Butt, man, you know when it's time, it's time.
That sounds just like him, too.
Like,
that sounds just like him.
I don't know if that was the time, like, he like, nah, man, you know. They gonna get what they get out of you. You can't be out there. He was like, you can't be out there in the field if you ain't 100% in it, man, you know. Yeah. And he tried, he cut that check right back to the Bills, but that would tell you kind of live life, you know, to his own drum. But definitely, obviously tragic, you know, whenever young people's lives get cut short. And obviously, you know, we deal with it as a community way too often. You know, sometimes, you know, it kind of can become numb to it. I done lost so many former teammates starting from, you know, high school. So, and it's tough. But at the same time, that stuff is like traumatic. You know, and at some point it's going to come to a head. So it's good that once again, I got a good community around me, got good people around me. So be able to talk about that stuff, be able to get it out, be able to once again live those memories that those people left with you. But, you know, ultimately hopefully they make me better and hopefully make me more locked in on leaving that legacy.
Do you feel like that's a good thing, leaving the game early? Not exactly the way Tay and AB did it, but like just leaving when it's time for you to leave. Like don't stay, and especially dealing with CTE and stuff like that. You feel like it's a good time to leave early?
It's a violent game, man. I feel like whenever your heart not in it, not fully into it, you don't leave. I was fortunate playing for 9 years. I feel like I came out pretty good. I go and get, my head checked every year. At least I used to go every 6 months, but every year to make sure, like the baselines and all that shit stand on point.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously for us, and more research and stuff is coming out. But, if you ask most of us, we'll do it again. We'll do it again,
Nice.
1,000 times over. It's just part of kind of what you sign up for. But at the same time, you only get one brain. And I left 9 years. I could have, strung some more years out and kept trying to play, but it was more important for me to be like, hey, I got jizz. I got a long, because we got a long time to live. I retired at 32, which is a long career. A lot of us is, mid-20s, early 20s. And we got a long, long life to live, after that. So I think you leave when you're ready, man. Obviously, money is important, and a lot of old heads tell you, hey, man, you stay in there as long as you can keep fooling them folks. So I respect that part of it too. But obviously money ain't everything, and regardless, it ain't about what you make. It's about what you keep. It's about what what you got out there working for you. And we don't talk about money enough. Obviously, in our community, when people come for money, a lot of things is just, you just know how it go. That's just, hey, you do this, you set this up, you own these businesses, you buy these assets, this is what you do. You buy land, you buy this, you buy real estate, all these different things. We don't necessarily have those conversations. So we think, hey, if I'm making $3 million a year, $4 million a year, I made $20 million per year, I'm gonna be straight forever. Nah, that shit go. And especially with how everything going up, it's most important. I wouldn't even say saving is most important. Obviously, you need a little knee pad for a rainy day, but investing, like having your money work for you, especially when you are young enough to where you working, to where you out there, you putting in that active, you making active income, so you doing something to make money. During those years, that's when you can be more aggressive. That's when you can do some different things, so that when you 55, 65, you can chill and you don't have all this shit working for you for 20, 30. Because all investing is time, man. You put that money in and you just leave it in there, whatever it is, and over time it's gonna generate and have some cash.
Cause we see it a lot with NFL guys who retired and
They go broke. They see over what 70, 80%.
Yeah.
Probably even higher, that they go broke
Mhm.
3 years after
Yeah.
retirement.
And like you say, if you don't come from that, you ain't gonna know what to do.
You don't understand it, and that ain't.
Was you taught that, or like what did you?
I was taught it over time. My mom, she was an accountant as well. So my mom, and then a realtor. So she's real estate agent, real estate broker. But for me though, hearing it is one thing, but then actually following it, because it's like, yeah, I'm gonna listen to OG, but like, OG ain't never made this type of money. Like, and then I got exactly. You see the numbers, and it's like, all right, you go and swipe to 7,000. And that shit don't even really change much. You're like, oh yeah, I'm straight. Another 7, 3 days later at the club. So it's like, and then it just add up. So it's one thing to hear it and have that guidance, but sometimes you just got to go and trick it off. You got to go and trick it off, and then learn kind of the hard way. A lot of us. So she definitely gave me some great advice I would have took, because I got drafted in 2009, which was right after one of the biggest recessions and the housing crash and all that happened in 2008. So real estate was super cheap, stocks were super cheap, like a bunch of companies, the whole auto industry was getting bailed out. Mom was telling me, hey, you need to get this, and that. And I'm like, man, I'm trying to hold on.
That's what's up.
I couldn't probably worth 100 if I listen to her for real. But
that's what's up.
You live and you learn. But if you ain't heard it before, that's the biggest advice I tell young cats about money, because it ain't just athletes. Athletes, the most messed up part about it is, once you're 30, once you're 28, once you whatever that age is, you done. You never making that type of money again. I know people, I got friends that went to Wall Street fresh out of college. Hey, they made, $2 million, $3 million in bonus. A year later, they done blew through that. But guess what? They still on Wall Street. They're gonna be on Wall Street for another 15 years if they want to be. They gonna, or a dentist or a lawyer or whatever you is, like, you're gonna be able to do that for 30, 35 years. Football, it's a real small space. You can make $15 million in 3 years, and that'd be it. And now you've just done it 27, 26, and you got to figure it out. So it's tough. So it ain't, so a lot of different professions blow through money, but they just got that time once again to make it back. Okay, now I'm gonna really learn and make these different investments. A lot of us, we may be mid-30s, mid-20s, early 30s, and we really just starting to really live that real life and really be like, okay, like $100,000, that's a lot of money. And then when you in the middle of the NFL, like when you in the middle of that shit, like $100,000, like, all right. That may be in a negotiations contract. Hey, then they came down, they went up 4 or 5 or 700,000. I have like that shit don't really compute. Yeah. But then when you really, you got kids going to high school, going off to college. Now you like, okay, you don't see $100 checks or wires just come through like that no more. So it's a whole different life. Once again, you got to kind of experience it, unfortunately, and hopefully you can do something after the game. Because they ain't making them NBA, MLB fully guaranteed.
Fully guaranteed
40, 50
contract.
It's different in football.
So I got a question. I know this the selfish part in me. Me and Double D always talk about this. I'm like, you retired in a time where obviously I already know you you was one of the players that took a knee, Kaepernick and stuff.
Yeah.
And again, like I say before, with me and Double D, we talk about this. Like, you was like, obviously you went through your little situation at for the New England Patriots at Dan Carolina.
Yep.
But when you went to the Colts,
yeah,
bro, you was game and like everything was, you was at the top. So I'm like, how you walk away, like when you like you said, you played nickelback. So and you was one of the best nickelbacks, and you played on the outside too. You had you was coming off some of the best years of your whole career,
for sure.
and you chose to step away from the game. Do you feel like going through that whole situation with Kaepernick at that time, did that play any part in?
Oh yeah, because you gotta understand, I was in Indiana, so it wasn't in Miami, he wasn't in San Fran, New York, Vegas. I was in Indiana. Indianapolis. So, that's Middle America. And what was great at the time, Mike Pence, who was the vice president, he was from Indiana. Man. And he had came to the game where we kneeled. Mike Pence was at that game. So he came to the game, was playing against the Niners. So he was at that game, and what spurred it all was obviously the comments that Trump had made at a rally before, and it was like, hey, because a lot of people, a lot of us supported Cap, and for me, I speak for myself, supported Cap. So anytime Mike was in my face and he asked, hey, what you think about the protest, Kaepernick taking the knee, woo, I fully support him. I understand what he's standing for, what he's talking about. I fully agree with him. These are issues, boom, boom. That just wasn't my form of protest. Like I wasn't taking the knee. Like that just wasn't what I was doing. I'm sure a lot of people felt the same way. But once Trump made the comments, like, all right, if any of them players out there, like them sons of bitch need to be thrown off the field. So that's when it's like, okay, now like I can't just go out there and just act like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the coaches knew what time it was, so everybody started scrambling. So I think he might have said that on Friday. And like the coach brought me in, I was like one of the captains. So bro, hey, it was like one of the first things he said was like, hey, you can't, that's how he was coming. But before I even let it get to where I was like, coach, we gonna handle it how we handle it. Like I gotta talk to my guys. I gotta sleep on this, like this, this different. So he was like, all right, cool. Just Sunday when you get to the stadium, just come holler at me. And at that time, so we all in the hotel, we had our meetings, then we had like a players only meeting, and everybody was kind of talking about their different situations. Hey, this happened to me, that happened to me, like this how I feel. And make a long story short, we ended up protesting. It was a group of us. Malik was one of them.
Malik,
first round rookie. So I knew, look, I'm 9 years in. I had just changed to free safety. So that was my first year playing full-time free safety. So I kind of had, once again, I could have stretched another 3-4 years.
Like Charles Wilson, for real. That's what I'm saying.
But I knew, like, once I made, that stand, and then after the stand was made or whatever, I was one of the more outspoken players about it, because I was like, but once the media come in, they ask for certain people, and I told the guy, like, hey, I don't want to have them young guys in the situation. I don't want to have these rookies, people that ask these big questions. They was trying to throw questions at you, make you sound stupid, and make you like you know what you're talking about. So I was doing a lot of the talking, had to, have a bunch of, went to the NFL offices, about 15, 16 of us, with about 12, 13 owners. So once that conversation was had, I knew like, all right, this probably it.
Man.
You know what I mean? I was cool with that because like, you know, I could sleep with that. I
Yeah.
could sleep with that. I played, you know, a long time. I always wanted to get 10 years. Like I was one of my things. I wanted to get 10 years, but
You could have got that by 13,
yeah,
dog. You could have got
I wanted a
13.
10 piece, but and I always feel like things happen. And, you know, I got kids. Hopefully, I have grandkids one day. So that was one of those moments where like a bunch of teams was doing different things. We was all talking to each other. A bunch of teams put out player statements. But a lot of them was like PR people behind it. Like if you go back and look at our player statement, like our statement was completely different than everybody else. It laid everything out while we was doing what we was doing. It was saying like, hey, we might continue to protest. Some players might not. So if you go back and look at the coach statement, I took pride in putting that out. And once again, even with us being in Indianapolis, so it was tough to do. But I knew that was probably gonna be the end, regardless of how I play, because you know how that worked when you're doing business with them folks. So you know, it was what it was. It was definitely a tough decision because you got bills to pay, you got mouths to feed, you got stuff. And I understood that for everybody who didn't protest, who didn't do that.
Yeah.
Like I
It's good that you looked at it that way.
You know what I mean? I ain't gonna look at you and be like, hey, you do this, you that. Like, nah, this decision I'm making, and I made it so that. Well, we made it so that anybody that took that knee, like we was all locked arms, we was all together. So it wasn't like two people down here and one person. Like it was like 17 of us just one right there together. And you know, and it played out how I played out. Obviously, you know, Malik's still having a great career. He's still playing right now. A lot of guys are, but that was you know, I guess part of a sacrifice, some people may say, but I think that was the right thing to do. And the things that came after, the initiatives that came after, I think they're doing their thing, what they're supposed to do. And you know, that was it's a crazy spot to be in. I'll tell you that much.
I didn't even know it was that. I knew it was deep.
Yeah, it get way
behind the
way
scenes.
deeper.
Yeah,
it get way deeper, bro.
You know, we always speak from a fan perspective, like, man, you should, you trimming that up, like the know how, like that's crazy for real.
It was crazy when you sit down. When you sit down with them big, like face to face, like I'm talking about at the table, it's Arthur Blank, Lurie, Robert Kraft, Terry Pagula, McNair, the Mara, San Francisco. So you sitting there, then it's, you know, Chris Long, Eric Reed, you know, these different players and then different Demario Davis. You having these conversations and you hear how they really think because it's unfiltered. It was like, hey man, Anquan Boulder was there, and
Florida
the
State
shit that was coming out their mouth. I'm like, man, yeah, I'm whatever happened, I'm cool with it happened. Like it's stuff, you know, it's stuff that, you know, I haven't spoken. I won't probably speak on publicly, you know, to maybe later. But yeah, it's deeper than, you know, what people just see. And then when you go out there and you put yourself, you put your neck out there, so to say. You know, people ain't showing up to rally up and, let's get a GoFundMe, let's do this, let's make sure he's straight because of what he left on the table. Like, nah, that's just a decision you got to make, and you just got to live with it. And you know, that's just what it is, though.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Before we get up out of here, I got a few more questions for you. First of all, I want to get your top 5 cornerbacks of all time and of right now.
All time?
Hey, before when he do that, make sure you call out the colleges they from too. I already know one, so I'm just saying. But go ahead.
That's the GOAT. You know the GOAT, Prime. Damn. No, I ain't gonna rank him. I will put Prime 1. Okay, Prime. Champ. Got Champ Bailey. Charles Woodson.
Oh, yeah, for real, huh?
Greenwood, Champ, Prime. This might be before y'all time, but Mel Blount.
Come on,
Mel
man.
Blount on the list.
You got Mel Blount in the five.
Mel Blount changed the rules.
Yeah.
Mel Blount. Damn, who 5? I know I'm forgetting.
I'm gonna be surprised, dog.
I know I'm forgetting somebody.
That's crazy.
So many to choose.
There's so many to choose from, Champ.
You got a good list so far.
See, it's either
I'm appalled.
either Reeves.
Oh, I was about to say, like, bro, I'm like,
It's either the only it's either Reed.
You get an honorable mention.
Oh, honorable mention. It got to be Krill. Honorable mention. It got to be Zont. Asante Samuel got to be on the
I like Zont. I like Zont.
I gotta be Zont. You know, I'm gonna take Mel. I'm gonna take Mel Blunt. I'm gonna take Mel. I'm gonna keep it recent. Prime, Champ, Seawood, Revis,
Asante.
Asante. I feel like I'm missing somebody though. But yeah, that's my five.
Okay.
Who you surprised about?
It took you so long to say Reeves. I'm like, damn. I'm like,
No, I mean when you look at the reason, and look, I played against Reeves in college. He was
Yeah,
at Pitt.
yeah.
When I was a youth, I see Reeves
Yeah.
firsthand.
Yeah.
Then went to the league, Patriots. He was with the Jets. Once again, firsthand. I seen Reeves Island firsthand. The best I've ever seen. The only reason it took, the longevity, like all them other cats, you look at the span, like I think Champ 12 Pro Bowls, how many, and then like the ball production. Getting that ball, getting that rock. Now, Reeves took away a side of the field, but I value that ball. Like these cats, I mean, they get that tater. So, but once again, Reeves definitely top five. I think was the best of his generation for sure. But that's the only reason. Like I put like Seawood or Champ at Prime like ahead of.
I thought you were gonna say Rod Wilson. That's why I was waiting on that too.
Rod.
Yeah.
Rod definitely out there.
Your top five today.
Top five today. Damn, that's tough. That's tough.
We already talked about that.
Certain to be in there for sure. PS2 will be in there. Damn, y'all gotta give me some names.
You already know. We talk about this already. We go back and forth about this.
Might be a difference today, man.
No, we always say Ramsey. I bet we
No, Rams gotta be in
Then
there.
he'll say Gilmore, Gilly.
Gilly, I wouldn't put him top five right now.
No.
A couple years ago, for
Yeah.
sure. It's a lot of young up and coming cats right now. You know what I really like? I do like Sauce.
I don't.
I like Stingley a little better though. I like Stingley better. Stingley down in Houston.
Yes. Nice.
Damn, y'all got me. Off-season vacation. I got it. What's that, 3? I said Certain, Ramsey, Stingley,
Ward.
Sauce. Denzel Ward nice. I want to put in top 5.
Nah, another Ward from the 49ers. You was talking about.
Darius
You the one that
J.
put me on. You put me on.
All Pro Mooney.
You put me on him.
Yeah, I like Mooney, but I'm gonna go Snead.
Snead gangster.
Snead in Tennessee now. Obviously, he was in Kansas City last year. So yeah, that'd be my 5 right now. Right now, it's a lot of cats that's kind of aging out. Like Xavier Howard, love his game for a long time. Darius Slay, love his game for a long time. Should be like Hall of Fame like consideration when it's his time. So many guys. Trevon Diggs, I love when he out there. Obviously, he just missed last year.
Nah.
I like Lazard. He ain't there yet, though.
But
He ain't got.
he coming though.
Yeah, but I love his game too. Yeah, for sure.
You notice you keep calling a lot of Florida State guys, but
Here you go.
I'm just saying.
Rand's been doing it for a long time at a high level.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Before I gotta definitely appreciate you for shit. When I first started cutting, Devil D, he put you on, got us connected, and you pretty much was the first, ball player I cut. And obviously I cut many more after that, but I definitely want to appreciate you for trusting me to cut your hair and give me that opportunity.
True.
Know you're a busy man and all that. But before we get up out of here, I got one question to ask you. Man.
Okay.
What's your bigger vision, like? What's the next step for you? Where you going from here?
It's a great question, man. Well, I talked about kind of being different, changing the game as far as, talking about ball on the analyst side. When it comes to that, the next step is I want to be in the booth. I want to be in the A booth, one of the top booths, one of the big networks, calling games. Been in that booth because I feel like obviously you get a lot of quarterbacks in there. You get a lot of players that come from bigger team, Cowboys, Giants, wherever it may be, but Patriots. But getting in that booth, giving the game from the perspective of defense, and because we all see the game, we'll see a big play, blown coverage, and it's like, oh, it was cover 2 or it was man to man. They don't be knowing what they talk about.
Facts.
So it is for me. It comes easy for me to see the game, and explain it to people. So being in that booth, I got a chance to call a game last year, the Packers Chargers Week 11 game last year with Jordan Love and Justin Herbert, and just being able to see the game from that booth and be able to, almost instantly know like, oh, that was quarter. I think that corner, and then you see a little replay, you got a spotter. So being able to deliver that to fans, that's definitely the bigger vision when it comes to football. And honestly, the last couple of years, I've been getting into the golf game too. I've been doing a lot of things in that golf world, which golf is huge, a great sport. Definitely play in your older age, but just to play in general, the younger you get into it, the better. It's valuable as far as the networking and business. Once you start dealing with, high net worth individuals and execs and decision makers, hey, the best thing, want to go golf, and you out there for 4 hours, 5 hours. So you can, it's hard to bullshit it's hard to beat somebody you're not 4 or 5 hours drinking, listening, whatever it may be, hitting a good shot, hitting a bad shot. So getting into that world, I've been doing a lot of things with Live Golf. And so getting into that world, not only on the playing side, but once again, on the commentating side, on the announcing side, because golf is growing. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So golf is growing. Yeah, absolutely. The game is growing, and I want to be one of the voices in the game because it's a lot of us, a lot of more black people, more younger people playing golf. So getting into that world to where you tune in and you hear a voice like mine talking about the game, reacting to shots, give you the backstory. Because once again, the era we grew up in with the athlete, we grew up in Tiger Woods era.
Fact.
I ain't seen none of Tiger. I don't remember watching that. So I feel like I missed out on that. It's a lot of young kind of golf stars in the game right now. We don't see a lot of them in the game. So I want to be one of the voices that not only you hear and talk about the game, but also get younger people into it, especially younger people that look like me. Getting in the golf world, in that TV space, and doing more things in this media space, because playing the game was great, but realizing how powerful. That's why I love what y'all doing with the bigger vision part. Like, media is one of the most powerful entities in the world, and always has been. So like, you can help create narratives, change narratives.
Facts.
You can educate people. Definitely. You can tell them and just expand. I think exposure leads to expansion. I think that's one of Fred Taylor's best lines. One of my OGs who's doing this thing.
Real.
Pivots. And that's real. When you actually see things, you actually hear, and you see people that look like you, that talk like you, that sound like you. Now, as a kid, you can really, that's what I want to do. Yeah, it's different. So, just kind of opening them doors and continue to do my thing, trailblazing, and being in a position where I can do things I want to do with people that I enjoy working with.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, I love gifts. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, bro. Oh yeah, I was looking at them. Okay. Yes, sir. We got them Colts colors. Yeah, and I got the 0. Yes, sir. Let's go, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Definitely.
Appreciate that. I gotta get one of them black ones too, man. What a merch at?
I got you, dog. I got you.
I need the link.
I got you.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Definitely.
Big Vision Pod Season 2.
That's it.
What's happening, y'all? This is Mellow Mile from Bigger Vision Podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to Bigger Vision Podcast on YouTube and Instagram. This podcast is produced by More Brand Management, music by Mari on the beat, and hosted by Big Amp, Burning the Barb, and myself, Mellow Mile. Check us out.